Poisonrana.
Hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
Braden Herrington here with Davie Portman for Poisonrana. You found us on whatever podcast app you are using, or you are watching us
Live on youtube.com/@PoisonRanaPod.
Hello.
We should get that on a t-shirt so people remember. The /@
T-shirt, huh?
Yeah.
It's funny you say that,
Yeah.
Mr. Portman. If that even is your real name.
It's not.
Someone just got shocked.
Yeah.
Someone doesn't know the one of the newer listeners. Right. Wait a second. What? Shoot name?
My origin story, yeah.
Yeah. You'll never know my shoot name.
No.
It's funny you say that you want something on a t-shirt, because a lot of people have been asking us about t-shirts, and I'll say, follow this space, young tadpoles. Maybe Tuesday night.
Hopefully very soon. Within the next week, I think, we should be having an announcement on some new merch.
That's right. Yeah. Welcome to Poisonrana. Hit that subscribe wherever way you are listening, and thanks for joining us. It's a Sunday. We're live. We're going to be chatting all about everything going on in the world of wrestling, as long as our internet is working.
I don't know what's going on. It's very strange, because when we do these Sunday shows, it's pretty seamless.
Right.
But Tuesdays, I don't know if Fido are doing like maintenance on Tuesday nights at 10:15. They're like, let's work out the internet. I have no idea what's going on. Maybe just our building are all on Fido and they're all streaming on Tuesday night.
So bizarre.
Sundays they're, I don't know, cooking a roast dinner and watching the football. I don't know. It's very strange, and we were pretty disappointed with how this Tuesday show went, which I thought was fun, but apparently you couldn't really hear us.
Yeah. I actually like the format, how we kind of were going through different shows, and I'm wondering if we try it again eventually, but maybe perhaps in person. But I don't know if that's doable with 4 people watching two screens of 2 shows at the same time. Could definitely get a little hairy, but
yeah, we'll see.
Speaking of hairy, you got a little beard going on.
I know, it's coming along, right?
Yeah.
I need to keep the hair short though on top, otherwise I do look a little homeless.
Homeless? Yeah.
But yeah, it's coming along for my Halloween costume.
I'm debating on like growing out what I call hair on top for part of my costume.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. So we're not going to expose what we're dressing up as, but if all goes to plan, our costume should be pretty good. Wrestling related, obviously. And hey, if you're dressing up, we would love to see some of your costumes or past costumes too of anything wrestling related. Always fun to see.
Yeah, I see we have Cameron Grimes in the room right now.
Oh, yes.
Had a great costume a couple of years ago for one of our Halloween Havoc watch-alongs.
I feel like he a few times costume. There's been some good. We haven't done that in quite a while, where we had the like costume Zoom parties and things like that, which was pretty fun. But yeah, any wrestling related costumes in the next few weeks leading up to Halloween, definitely send on and share on social media, because we always like to see. We've seen some. I love seeing, because it's like gonna be Halloween party season and everything too. Like, you're gonna see wrestling costumes out in the wild. Wrestling is definitely hit that more popularity. Like, you see them way more often than I remember seeing them as a kid.
Yeah.
It's just more pop culture, as everyone dresses up as weird things they like. So we've seen so many really great wrestling costumes in public, and I know I'm gonna run into a few this year, and I'm always excited. Like, I'm sure there's gonna be some Bray Wyatts, obviously.
Yeah.
Definitely thought about doing that, but I already had my costume. So, but it would be, I could pull off a good Bray, I think.
I just want to run into that Jedi from Kim's Convenience again.
We have to, yeah. The one who marked out over us.
He marked out over us. Wait, is that Darby Allin? Is that Sting?
Yeah. And right away I'm like, yo, wait, that guy's actually in Star Wars.
Yeah.
And then they were all, yeah, that was pretty fun. So maybe we'll run into them again. But yeah, we have a few wrestling costumes ready for our night out, but we would love to see yours as well.
But hello everyone, live in the YouTube chat right now. We are having a little issue with getting our super chats back and running, but there are other ways you can support. You can support us for free by hitting that subscribe button just below. and give us a nice rating on Spotify, Apple, wherever you listen to your podcast. A 5-star rating really does help us with a nice review. But also, you can sign up for just $5 a month to our Patreon.
Yes, check out our Patreon, especially it's spooky season. If you're into spooky movies and all that, hey, what a better time, because we do have our Halloween season in full gear going on here with our spooky reviews. We did our Mothman Prophecies review. Someone has to connect us with Renee.
I know, she's reading the book right now.
She was posting about the book, which we talk about on this review in depth. So possibly got to get Renee on, not to talk about wrestling, just to talk about the paranormal.
Yes.
Specifically.
Yeah.
So we did that review over on our Patreon. What else did we do?
We just released our Friday the 13th review. We've already had some feedback. Jesse from the Six was messaged me saying he was howling laughing for our review of.
We got a few messages.
Friday the 13th.
I think Dickie said he was working on his farm somewhere in Australia, laughing at us.
Nice.
Friday the 13th, part 3. In 3D.
Yes.
The 3D one, aka the one where Jason
gets a mask.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What a ridiculous movie, and was super fun to chat all about that. So that's out on the Patreon this week.
We released another Was Next a couple of weeks ago, as we're on the road to Arrival. That's just a couple of weeks away.
Yeah, gearing up in a few weeks, possibly November. We will be doing a review, the first time ever review of NXT Arrival, the first ever special on the network. So that's something to look forward to over on the Patreon in possibly a month. I
think maybe December-ish. We've still got like 2 or 3 episodes left, but maybe we could do a double episode one week or something like that. And then we still got a couple more things coming out on the Patreon, like our Antichrist review with the aforementioned Dickie Bird, Lars von Trier. This is going to be pretty heavy, this film, and we'll be talking about that this week. And then to coincide with Halloween Havoc, we'll be reviewing Halloween Havoc 1998.
Oh, I'm so excited. As voted by you. The fans.
By me?
The fans.
Oh, the fans.
I'm sure you voted for 1998.
I did, yeah.
I actually didn't vote. I felt like...
You abstained?
I was torn between 91
and 98.
So I just stepped out and let the people do their thing. So nice. I'm happy that it was selected, but yeah.
And then we'll have our annual tradition on Halloween. This year round, we're reviewing Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers.
This is your warning. Watch this movie in the next little while. Join our movie book club and let's look for our review. I know John Pollock is definitely looking forward to our review. And our family member patron Justin, who just picked Escape from New York simply because Loomis is in it.
Oh yeah.
And this is the last Loomis Halloween movie.
Technically, yeah. I mean, if you're not counting Halloween Ends,
like the new one.
But yeah, this is Halloween 6, aka the one with Paul Rudd.
Yeah, Paul Rudd making his acting
finally
debut.
I feel like every one we've done since like Halloween.
We were like,
3,
yo, Paul Rudd
is Paul Rudd in the next one? Is he in the next one?
Yeah, this is young Paul Rudd, like Clueless time era, which is crazy. So definitely looking forward to this one. And you know what? If you're into spooky stuff and you haven't checked out our Patreon, honestly, not to toot our own horn, but we've been doing spooky season for the past few years. So there's crazy episodes and movie reviews of Exorcist and all sorts of scary movies.
These ones are pretty timeless, our horror movie reviews. I did actually go to see the new Exorcist.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Earlier this week.
I've now heard of lots of not good things.
So it's the same team behind the last Halloween trilogy. And was hoping they'd redeem themselves.
Right.
They really didn't.
Oh.
I loved the cast. I thought the cast were great.
Yeah.
Like the acting was pretty strong. I really liked the first like half hour of the film, kind of setting up until we get to the actual possession bit. And then it just felt so by the numbers, formulaic. It didn't offer anything new. I was pretty disappointed. I enjoy bad horror films. Like I wasn't bored, but I was like, I feel there's more you could do here, and they really didn't.
Yeah. I saw you were watching the new Goosebumps.
I started the new Goosebumps. Yeah, it's a bit Riverdale-y for me, but I'll continue while it's spooky season.
Yeah.
Did you hear the news that came out the other day about Halloween?
No, what do you mean?
So they're not with it's not with Blumhouse.
That's
anymore.
right. That's right.
And A24 have picked it up.
The rumor is they're making a TV show.
Okay.
Which is strange. Like, you're going to turn are we going back to the origin story of Michael Myers and you're just going to do a series about this? Is it going to be is it going to be a prequel? Is it going to be like, I'd rather another movie, but I know obviously it's been beaten to death, but you know, Michael Myers in space. We could do Michael versus Ghostface. I don't know.
I think like, yeah, I think there's something you could really do quite well of, you know, trying to build like these characters if you are doing a series where you really care about them. That's what I like about when I read Stephen King books. Quite often, a lot of the horror is in like the last 50 pages.
Right.
And everything up until then is tension building and you actually caring about these characters. So when you're killing them off, it's not just like we just did Friday 13th Part 3. Didn't give a shit about anyone.
Yeah,
and I think something like that in a TV show where you know, like we've seen how effective it is in shows like Game of Thrones and Lost when you're killing off beloved characters out of nowhere. I think that could really work.
I would watch it, but it's definitely like, oh, interesting. And A24, those people have been like killing it with everything they've been putting out. Like they've been killing it with like the spooky movies and stuff, but the Iron Claw.
Yeah, Jake's just asking about. We do have that as a segment later. We'll talk about the trailer for that.
I'm super excited. But like A24, every movie we've reviewed a few of their. We've reviewed Midsummer, right? That's them as well. Yep. Like
I think Hereditary was them, and
yeah, very spooky.
While we're on the movie chat, have you heard the news about James Bond? Christopher Nolan's comments.
Is this true? Is this real?
So nothing's confirmed, but he's like obviously he's thrown his like name in the hat like a few times. He had an interview a while ago where he's like, just watch my films, there's blueprints, like Bond blueprints all over them. But recently he said, if I do it, I want to make it a period piece.
Yeah, so
which
go back in time.
I think that sounds awesome.
Yeah,
and that would be such a fresh take after this like Daniel Craig series to do it back when those books were originally written. I think that sounds pretty cool.
So no cell phone Bond, more like
like as the Fleming books were essentially. So what's that? 50s? It's just post World War II, isn't it?
Or something. That'd be pretty cool. Yeah, I'd be interested in that. Definitely. Yeah, I haven't. I was thinking about seeing The Exorcist, and then now I'm like, I might not. So, but I haven't. I feel like I was watching some scary movies the other day, and I can't even remember what they were, but. I'm definitely in that whole mode of like, everything.
'Tis the season
even at work,
to be spooky.
Yeah, just watching everything. Yes, I hope you're enjoying your spooky season, and I don't know, check out our Patreon for all the spooky stuff we do.
But we offer some stuff on our free feed as well. We just had a big debut drop this Friday, and been having lots of positive comments about this show so far. It's Martin Bushby, Dickie Bird, and Brandon from New Jersey. Eagles Don't Hunt Flies. It's a John Moxley mixtape. They kicked things off talking about his feud with Nick Gage spanning over a decade. Really great show. I'm about 3/4 of the way through this. Really interesting. Those three have great chemistry together. I believe next month they're going to talk about the Brock Lesnar Dean Ambrose feud, which I'm quite interested in. But go check that out. Really good show, as we have these kind of free rotating shows on this very feed.
Yes, as I'm calling it, the Irishman, a Puerto Rican, and a fake Australian mark out about Moxley. But I like their title.
Who's Irish?
Wait, sorry, not Irish. English. Yeah, it was a great show, and they'll be doing one every month?
Once a month
on this feed. So lots of shows. I know, like What Up Doe and Detox. So lots and lots of free shows. Of course, Shot in the Dark every week as well, with John Cena filling in everyone. Kojima's favorite show, Shot in the Dark.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. He liked our tweet the other day of Shot in the Dark. I was like, man,
Shot in the Dark gets a lot of love.
Maybe like when he's making his toast, he's got eaten his bread.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, what can I do in 15 minutes?
Well, Ceno's the only guy in the world that talks about all these things, all these other shows that it's just too much for some people. But as wrestling fans, we want to keep up. We want to know what's going on.
That's right.
And Ceno condenses it all into 15 minutes. It's a little clip notes of the week in wrestling.
I'm excited to hear his Shot in the Dark next week, because I just watched this week's episode of WoW.
Oh yeah.
And they brought in a new character that's like an 80s like aerobics instructor, but like
Okay.
glittery, kind of weird. And I definitely recognize her from being a wrestler on the indies, but like brought the actual wrestling to WoW, which I was like, whoa, okay, actually pretty impressed.
She can go.
Yeah. But then shout out to listener of the show and friend of the show, Vince, down in Texas, who last night sent me something that popped me so huge while at work. He was at a Revolver show down in Texas somewhere, and he saw my favorite WoW superstar, BK Rhythm. And he went up to her and said, look, one of my friends is a huge fan. Can you please just send him a little voice note? So I have a video from BK Rhythm who says...
Is she rapping?
I was a little... I'm not going to lie. I was expecting, oh my God, she's going to rap. And then she didn't. She said, I heard you're a huge fan of me. What a surprise. I'm a huge fan of me too.
Was she better than Kira Hogan on Cameo?
No one would ever be better than
Kira Hogan sucked.
Yeah, hers was bad,
but
right?
Cameron's the best.
Yeah, but shout out Vince and shout out BK Rhythm and shout out WoW. But yeah, I can't wait to hear Cena. It is changing my life forever. I was like, wow.
Wow.
You know, if you've never watched it, but every time they go to and back from break, that's the sound.
What, Owen Wilson?
Wow. No, I do it every time. I go, wow. But yeah. I guess we can talk about everything else going on.
Let's talk about some wrestling. Quite a lot to talk about this week. Kicking things off, the fallout from the Tuesday Night War, NXT versus AEW. The numbers came in. NXT won quite convincingly with over 900,000 overall viewership, 0.30 in the demo, and AEW just over 600k viewership with a 0.26. So everyone took this nice and calmly and just moved on with enjoying the rest of their life, right?
Yeah, of course. That's what wrestling fans online do most of the time.
Yeah.
But yeah.
What about wrestling owners?
Yeah.
Promoters.
Yeah, they don't do that either. But maybe sometimes they should put their phone down. I think obviously we knew AEW was going to lose in this feud. Not just going up against NXT. You're going up against NXT with John Cena and The Undertaker. Like already, that's, you knew people were going to pick sides, and we were crazy to watch both at the same time, which is really hard to do and trying to focus on different things and stuff, but was fun and was interesting to do at least once or twice. I would try it again, to be honest. But you knew they were going to lose, and there's so much tribalism with the fans, especially online. Oh man. But something you do have to remember is part of the online discourse is only still a fraction of people who watch. So as much as obviously WWE is going to destroy them in this scenario, and rightfully prove hey, look, we can pull out the big guns when we need to and really shut you down. But I still thought it was good shows from both parts. But what doesn't help AEW is Tony Khan going on Twitter.
Yeah, it's a bit embarrassing.
Yeah,
I think just he's saying about what Cena and Undertaker's streak of over 1 million viewers is broken and all this. Tweet. It just seems sore loser, and it's embarrassing. If it makes it look like a B League. Yeah, in my opinion,
it's definitely strange. I mean, what is he supposed to? The way he was tweeting even before this, the ratings before the show, he was definitely different, tweeting a bit different than kind of how he has in the past. I know he has that one or two moments in the past, Street Fight Tonight. Yeah, but it was definitely weird. But what would you have tweeted if you were him in his scenario? Obviously nothing like the stuff he did tweet, but great night.
Tonight the fans won. Great wrestling all round. Check out Rampage, where Rocky Romero's taking on Mystico, who used to actually be the original Sin Cara, but then his brother Drillista.
No, please do not do that. Yeah, if Tony Khan, even if you want to do dirty jokes and make stupid comments, the streak of Cena and Undertaker not having 1 million viewers is not even what kind of joke is that? If anything,
at least be funny.
Yeah, at least be funny. At least be funny. Have someone.
He's got money. Be like,
writer, bro.
Hey, Dave Chappelle, can you help me out with a joke?
Get someone to write. You know how many celebrities have people that write their fucking tweets and shit? Like, yeah, people pay, that's a job. Like,
Yeah.
get someone to do it. You could have tweeted, great night of wrestling. We lost in the ratings, but still happy with our Tuesday night ratings. Just as happy as Undertaker can still walk.
Yeah.
Or something like, I don't know. Just the way he tweeted was weird.
Yeah, very odd. I did I know our sound was a little odd on Tuesday, to say the least. I was a little disappointed with NXT. I enjoyed it, but I've actually really been into the product recently and just felt it kind of lacked that killer match that we've been having weekly at the moment.
Yeah.
Like, by all means, have The Undertaker, Cena, Cody, all of them to bring the eyes onto it. But then if you put on a match, like Becky and Tiffany Stratton had recently, or like Wesley and Mello had at the pay-per-view, I think you could keep even more viewers. So I thought they did an okay job of blending like the current stars with the old stars, but I thought they could have done a bit better with that.
Yeah, no, I can't even remember most things that happened on NXT this week.
Oh, we were watching 2 shows.
Yeah, very true. But I felt like it was just a grab to get people to watch that show for whatever, by any means necessary. But maybe it'll help NXT in the long run.
Yeah, we'll see how the ratings are the next couple of weeks coming up. Yeah. I mean, Halloween Havoc is surely going to be pretty big. It's normally one of their bigger TV shows of the year.
For sure.
Yeah, so...
Yeah. But pretty crazy. That was a lot of people watching wrestling then on a Tuesday night. Like, putting those two together, that's definitely a lot of people. And would that many people watch one show if the other wasn't on TV is also like another good question. But yeah, obviously WWE beats AEW. But what'd be interesting is what happens if WWE moves to Wednesday nights. Like permanently, like a Monday night Raw turns into Wednesday night Raw.
I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? I think a couple of years ago, like 2019 or whatever, when like Raw especially was like pretty dog shit.
Yeah.
And AEW was this hot new thing. I still think Raw would have won, but I think AEW's numbers will definitely take a dent out of it. I don't know if that would be the case today.
Yeah, it definitely would.
Like looking at, AEW need to like work out how to fix what's going on. Attendance hasn't been great. They've been putting on great shows still. Like the wrestlers are fantastic. It's still one of the best rosters, if not the best roster in the world. But it's definitely lost that. We were kind of talking about when AEW started and we were like, NXT's lost its cool factor. I think that's where AEW is. It's kind of lost its cool factor a little bit right now.
Yeah, what do you do? What do you do if you're working there? Like you do more media? Do you do more promotion? Do you run smaller venues? Do you run less? You need to do less shows because, like, honestly, like even today, trying to catch up on everything, like an extra show of Collision where I'm like, oh, I guess I should watch this because I'm going to do a podcast where I'm talking about it. Okay, what happened on the show? Sorry, Iron Savage dude who, what is he? Motorboats?
Yeah.
He's having a match. Okay, wait, why would I go to this show?
Well, you're not going to see you're going to see Edge and Christian and Daniel Bryan, like, Bryan Danielson and all that.
You promote that match this week and you expect thousands of people to rush to go
see I mean they're not gonna take shows away. Like, they've got contracts. They're doing the 5 hours of TV a week.
It's crazy. I think that's the problem.
Well, they've got a big roster. Like, they can serve that, and I think they're somewhat doing an okay job with some of the people, but they've lost that kind of thing of promoting areas. Think like Pittsburgh, Britt Baker country, Long Island, MJF country. They used to do a really good job at that, of really building up certain TV shows weeks ahead and say, oh, Britt's gonna have a big match in Pittsburgh coming.
And that's every other week they're in Pittsburgh. So
but matter. Like they haven't done that. They're not running. They run the same venues. Like it's they booked for the whole next year, so it's not like they can run smaller venues at this point. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's really weird. Like, you want to see them do well, but I do think there's mistakes obviously being made that is like, hey, why isn't this clicking? Because I know people that would go, oh, wrestling's in town and it's $30. Yeah, all right, I'll go. And I don't know if that's
their prices have gone up as well.
Yeah, their prices have gone up, which doesn't help. Like, people are losing interest and your prices are going up. That's not really how.
And I think comments like TK's this week, it does make it look B level. Whereas like we saw, like that's how WCW imploded, was focusing too much on what the other guys are doing, and really just focus on yourselves. And
I mean, hey, is that not such a bad thing too? WCW and WWF used to give all their tickets away when they couldn't sell tickets. Like WCW were known for not always selling out ever. They would be giving away tickets for free. Start doing that.
Yeah.
Hey, here's 100 tickets to a radio station for the 300s. You know, I don't know. So there's something you could do. Be something like
not only are you promoting it, but you're feeling it if you're doing that.
Yeah,
you know?
like I don't know. Like there's got to be stuff that you're doing wrong, and like it does not feel as hot and interesting, but there's got to be something that you can do to bring it kind of back. Because like you said, the wrestling is still really good. I much prefer the wrestling still. And I much still think this show in AEW is geared to someone towards like me, early 30s guy who definitely was through the ringer of bad years of wrestling, that I'm still a fan and still hang on. But this show feels like it's definitely geared towards me. Whereas WWE is still like a bit more of like the broader kind of thing. But like WWE is absolutely killing it. So
yeah,
that could be it too.
Yeah, WWE is definitely hot right now.
Yeah.
I had a chance to watch SmackDown this week. I normally work Friday nights, but finished a little early and got to watch it. And I actually really enjoyed the show. It was the season premiere. We had a few big moments, starting with Adam Pearce getting a promotion by losing one of his jobs.
Love when that happens.
Hopefully being paid more, doing less. And Nick Aldis, who I didn't even know he was a producer in WWE. But is going to be the GM of SmackDown.
All right, like, cool that Nick Aldis is a position, finally on-screen character in WWE. That is pretty much his WWE debut, if you ask me. Nice blue suit. We know him, obviously, from many different things. I'm thinking of All In against Cody, obviously, for the NWA. But TNA is specifically where I know him a lot from. But very strange to just all of a sudden throw to this guy to be like, hey, he's our new GM without like any kind of backstory. I felt like there was no reaction to when he came out. It was very quiet because people were like, literally, who's this guy?
I actually thought they did it the right way because of that reaction.
Yeah.
If he was like, and now Nick Aldis and music hits and everything. I think when Adam Pearce became that role, it was kind of just subtly just started appearing. And I don't know. I thought it was kind of a good idea rather than, I think back to that, debut of Butcher and the Blade or Satnam Singh where they did lights out, lights on, and then it was like, who's this guy?
Yeah.
It was more just like a business thing, like, here's our new GM.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He could be good. He's a good talker.
Yeah, I think this is a good role for him, actually. Yeah. And I'm not particularly into him as a wrestler, but I think this is a good position. He can talk. He looks good in a suit.
Yeah.
And they could build to maybe the odd match here and there if
sure
he's
they would.
beefing with, a Dominic Mysterio or whoever.
Yeah.
But yeah, a bit of a surprise. As I said, I had no idea he'd signed with the company.
Yeah, again, it's kind of strange, especially for strict WWE fans who are like, wait, who is this person? I have no idea who this is. So it is kind of like, oh, all right. But hey, as a wrestling fan, maybe you're like, okay, I got to get familiar with this guy. I agree. I'm actually not a big fan of his actual wrestling, but I always thought he was a good talker. And this probably is the best role for him on the show. And again, love the baby blue, almost Dumb and Dumber-esque, the baby blue suit.
Yeah. And his first act is bringing Kevin Owens over to SmackDown, thus ending the KO Sami tag run. And the week they reunite DIY as well. So we're not going to get that match, unfortunately. But kind of wrote Kevin off a little bit on Monday where he sort of finally made good with Jay at the end of that match, which I actually thought was a pretty good match on Monday, the tag match. And we'll get into creative control in a little bit, but interesting to book a big match like that tag match on Monday and have a decisive winner with no tomfoolery was kind of interesting and a bit of a change for WWE.
Yeah, so what do you do with Kevin and Sami? Does Sami face Seth Rollins down the line? Yeah,
I mean, Sami, you'd hope they can build up that singles run again. I imagine he'll somewhat be involved with the War Games thing, whatever we got going on there.
But you'd figure Kevin would be too, so that's
weird. Or it could be a multi-brand thing for that. But yeah, Kevin Owens, he's a big name to move across, but I don't know. We've seen the Roman feud a few times. It's like Ray is the US champion right now. I can't see him feuding with him. I can't really see who Kevin Owens is going to feud with on SmackDown.
Yeah.
At the moment.
Yeah. Kind of strange.
Whereas Sami could, like Sami Gunther, I know they have done that match, but that's something you could revisit. As you said, Sami Seth down the line. I think Drew, this heel turn is on the way with Drew. So Sami Drew is definitely something you can do with Sami being in Jay's corner right now and that kind of thing.
Oh, right. The whole, yeah.
So I think it's more interesting for Sami than it is for KO.
Yeah, I'd rather move away from Bloodline stuff, and I feel like they'll just go back to him hanging out with Jay and whatever, something like that. But yeah. Other moment in that segment with Nick Aldis is Triple H recreating the meme of him turning around and someone's music hitting.
Yeah.
And I laughed so hard. I think someone told him, hey, stand this way and recreate. This thing's popular right now of him turning around. Redo it. I could tell he was trying to do it, and good job, Triple H.
And the Dominic Mysterio boos have just been
awesome. And the line like, "Oh, I thought these were piped in."
Yeah.
Triple H.
I did like that.
Triple H is good on the mic too. Never forget.
Yeah, I miss Triple H sometimes.
Triple H, heel Triple H. We didn't appreciate him being such a fucking dick on the mic sometimes because he's so funny. Like Twitter, since the whole Punk stuff blowing up this year, Twitter have been so much fun going and nitpicking Triple H's promos on Punk back in the day, which timed, even aged like fine wine, some would say.
Well, what else did we have on the show? We had LA Knight seemingly being set up for Roman's challenger. I assume for Saudi Arabia.
You could see it in his eyes.
You could, yeah. I've got the picture up right there. Great shot of
that's got to be the poster
in LA Knight. Yeah, I think LA Knight's like obviously we've been saying for years with him in NXT and stuff. A great talker. The crowd are behind him right now. This is the time to do the match.
Strap him up.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, does that match have your interest at all, or where are you with LA Knight?
I think it's so crazy watching him come out, and every week it's like crazy reaction. It's like the glass shatters and this guy's coming out. It's like, what the hell is going on? People just love cheering this guy, so it's like, yo, fucking go for it. He could lose to Roman and still be like a really hot character, but I don't project him winning obviously against Roman, but go for it. And I'm sure he's gonna have some good promos in the next few weeks too, leading up to this. But like, definitely treat him like a main player. Putting him in this role will help him even if he loses. So
it completely makes sense. I think the best Roman matches have been when the babyface has been just super hot, and we've seen so many times in WWE where a character is getting hot and they never capitalize on it. I'm thinking of like, Rusev Day or Cesaro the night after Mania when he won the Andre the Giant, where he felt huge and they dropped it. And there's so many characters like that, and I think it's a good idea to just strike on it now. And I think they've done a...
So you're saying he should win?
No, but just booking the match and giving him those hope spots, and I think have him now can be a permanent like upper mid-carder who you can slot in that position every now and then, can challenge for the other belt at some point, that kind of thing.
I mean, like if he's such a big star, I could see him being put in bigger spots for the next year as well. If it's title or non, like I see him being treated well. If you do house shows, he could be your main event. Like easily.
And he's someone as well where like I think building his like prominence up, he's got such a long future in this company where I could totally see him, being in a GM role or a commentary role or something like that down the line when his in-ring career is over, because he's so good on the mic and the crowd just love him.
My girlfriend still hates him. She goes, she was wearing one of my wrestling shirts at work and someone was like, "Oh, wrestling fan, huh? Let me talk to you." Yeah, she's like, Jesus Christ.
She boy on herself.
She's like, "Is that guy still?" She doesn't watch as much. Is that guy still popular? I'm like, yeah. She's like, oh god.
And then maybe my favorite moment on the show was as Cody and Jay are leaving after their win against Waller and Austin Theory. What are they called? A-Town and Down Under. I think A-Town Down Under.
That's pretty good. That's pretty funny.
Roman Reigns' music hits and he comes out with Solo and Jimmy, and I don't know. I thought they did this really well. It's the first time Cody and Roman have seen each other since the night after Mania.
Right.
It's kind of the first time since SummerSlam Jey Uso's seen like these guys as well.
Oh, right. Okay.
And it felt like, you know, Jey used to be in this group of bullies and he's broken free. And I felt like fear for his life as just that epic Roman music is hitting and they're coming towards him and Cody just steps up. I think it's a nice little thing. They did the I don't know if you saw Michael Cole interviewing Cody on Raw, where he was like, hey, so you're tag champions, so are you just not going to finish the story? What's up with that?
Right.
And I think they've done a good job this week of being like, hey, we haven't forgotten about this, and a little tease of possibly the Mania match this far ahead.
I mean, it sure looks that way, but the strikes in Hollywood say
Still going.
otherwise.
Yeah.
So I think The Rock might be coming back. I don't know. Cody is like fighting for his life.
But like, I don't know.
He's fighting for his life out here, man.
Like,
He's gonna lose that spot.
I think it's going to mean more when Cody eventually
has to be
gets it,
we
and they're
that,
positioning him as the guy. And I think just doing this sort of thing every now and then, I don't know. I thought I've got the image up there, just the stare down between them. It was like both seeing something from their past.
It
like,
makes so much sense for him to. It made so much sense for him to win last year, but like now everyone's like, okay, Roman will just hold it even longer, and the rematch without Solo and the crew, like 1-on-1, and that's how he loses it. Should be the fairy tale ending, the story.
Like we've seen it work in Japan, like holding off Naito's big win and that kind of thing. So I don't know. I thought it was a pretty cool moment this week, and just Bloodline staring down poor Jey as well, who was shitting his cacks there. And then we had another kind of confrontation. Jade Cargill meeting Charlotte Flair for the first time. Yeah,
so Jade's deciding what
brand to be on while she's training at the PC, getting better at wrestling.
And then she kind of comes face to face with Charlotte. I thought this was pretty cool. I still think they could have. I wish they did one thing differently, and I'm nitpicking, but when she came out at the pay-per-view like last week, that she was just backstage. I think they could have had her come out and do like some like contract signing, even on the stage. Triple H being like, "Hey, welcome Jade to WWE," and then every week on different shows, it's like, "Oh, where's she signing?" Because right now, if you don't like, you wouldn't know who she is. You're kind of like, okay, well, wait, like you're showing up, but you haven't like even said hello to the camera yet, kind of thing, on the actual shows. So it's because it's all been like .com exclusive. She's here. It's like, okay, like
I think though they're trying to build up this mystique where even if you don't know who she is, I think you can tell. Oh, they're giving her the limo treatment. Yeah. She's hanging out backstage with Triple H. Like if you've never watched AEW or known who she is, I think they have presented her in a way, and I think it's kind of smart if she is training regularly at the PC and hopefully improving to hold off the debut.
So you're excited for Charlotte versus Jade?
I think that's a Mania tease as well. Charlotte is very hit and miss for me.
Yeah,
and I don't think a match her and Jade would be very good. Personally, I think obviously look at them. They both look like $1 million superstars. So I get it. I get that feels like a huge match. Charlotte is kind of the measuring stick, but Charlotte, I don't know. She has great chemistry with Rhea, has great chemistry with Charlotte, but we've seen pretty poor chemistry against some other people, and someone who's on the greener side like Jade, I don't think wrestling wise would be as good as maybe what a Becky could get out of Jade or something. But I get that's the biggest tease you could probably do with her.
What does Jade change her catchphrase to? Can she say "cut the shit" on WWE TV? Probably not, right?
Oh yeah, I forgot she used to say that.
Cut the stuff. I'm that girl.
Cut the crap. Yeah.
I'm that person.
Yeah. They say bitch a lot.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Do they?
They do say bitch a lot.
I'm that bitch.
When do you think she's gonna debut? Like in ring,
Survivor Series, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I could see that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Get Shaq in there.
Shaq
in her corner.
He comes out in an ambulance.
Appears.
Just.
I'm back in the Fed.
Wait, was he the genie or was that Sinbad?
Oh man, you're gonna. So many people are writing in right now. You've opened up that So wait,
which timeline are we living in here? Are we Universe A, Universe B?
Yeah, Earth 99.
Yeah.
Shaq was Shazam.
Okay. I don't know, man.
Kazam.
Yeah.
Shaq was Kazam. My
the Bernstein Bear? What they called?
What the?
I don't.
The Bernstein Bears.
Yeah.
And Shaq. What?
No,
what are you talking about?
I'm talking about other. What do they call Mandela effects?
The Bernstein Bears.
Who would you have as Jade's first opponent? Like, do you just do kind of squash like her Zelina Vega, that kind of thing?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, someone she beats like pretty quickly and destroys.
And do you kind of do a streak? I assume you would kind of do a streak until Mania, maybe.
Streak for 5 years.
Charlotte to beat her.
Do the streak for 5 years.
Sure.
Don't ruin it like TK did.
Yeah. Well, some news coming out. They're talking about the Survivor Series that maybe Randy Orton is set for a return by Survivor Series.
Yes. Obviously, there's been people wanting to see this guy back. We've seen him at the PC, kind of wondering, hey, maybe he's training. Is he not injured anymore? There's got to be something going on. And the biggest piece of the puzzle is Rev Theory, the band who does his music, tweeting out Randy voices. Okay, thanks for tweeting that.
Cryptic.
What does that mean? But really cryptic because it's right to the point. Randy voices.
I like.
So Randy's coming back.
He's
clearly.
someone I really liked when he very first debuted and like initial like, evolution and his first title.
Yeah.
And then I really dropped off of him kind of after the Legend Killer shtick. Yeah. I found him so dull, so boring. And then he really had this resurgence in the last couple of years, I think. I think his promos got better. I think you saw he was more passionate. I think watching his interview with Austin where he was like, no, I want to be regarded as one of the best and I want to improve. And saying about Michael Hayes told him, you'll never be Mount Rushmore because you're not a good promo like some of the others. And I think you just saw this real appetite and had some fun with it. Like, I know the RK Bro stuff isn't going to happen, but he was having real fun with that. And I think the injury came at a time when he was kind of hot again. So I'm kind of excited to see Randy back. We haven't really had that Roman feud yet.
No, that has to happen.
And I think that's something that could totally tide you over until
Cody.
Until Cody, like Rumble season, Randy.
And then it's what was Legacy?
Yeah.
Got Cody and Legacy teaming up again.
I mean, that could be a cool thing if Roman is feuding with Roman, like, say it's Rumble and whatever the pay-per-view is after that. It can be Roman, like Randy now in Cody's corner again to help, like, tying that all back together. Bring Bob Holly back as well.
Bob Holly, Ted DiBiase Jr.
Yeah, I don't think DiBiase Jr. is coming back.
Yeah, I don't think Bob Holly is either. Sparky Plug though.
Oh, okay. But yeah, how would you bring Randy back?
I mean, you got to do the Roman one. That would be a huge pay-per-view. Whatever city you do it in, that crowd would be hot for Randy, and he can lose to Roman and still be a big key player around for WrestleMania time. But yeah, he's been someone I've been definitely on and off. Like when I got super into wrestling, the whole evolution story was definitely something I was into. But he's dropped off. But you're right. There's something that reignited something in the past few years. Like he was definitely just like chilling and coasting, doing not a whole lot of great stuff. I think to the Christian feud that all of a sudden I was like, yo, those are some sick matches. And then he was kind of coasting again, and then he'd have another feud. You're like, oh, those were some good matches. And then he'd have some stinkers. And I don't know, he's definitely has some good stuff in
It's interesting as well, because I think the, pandemic, the empty arena and the Thunderdome and all that, you saw a bit of a change in WWE. Obviously, we had those very, like, dialogue-heavy Roman Reigns matches, but I think a lot of people's promos got a bit better. Like, I wasn't crazy about the matches between him and Edge, but I thought the actual promos they were doing empty arena was better, and I think he improved, like, with that. And then I think having fans back might have reignited that passion as well. But yeah, I'll be happy to see Randy RKO back.
Yeah, we need him to have. I would like for him to do stuff with Cody. I think that would be pretty cool and kind of a full circle moment. And Yeah, I'd like to see it. RKO out of nowhere coming soon, and it wasn't Rev Theory tweeting Randy. They tweeted Orton voices, so I have to make.
Oh, okay.
So that, that's even more cryptic.
You'll get people getting at us, won't we? Well, so a few months ago, CM Punk was injured. It's Punk Watch time, guys. CM Punk was injured and went to Monday Night Raw in Chicago. Who's hanging out backstage? Saw Papa Paul. It's like, hey, Paul,
Which Paul?
Triple H.
Think about it. He could be talking to other Pauls.
And he's like, hey, I'm kind of not really enjoying it over there. What do you think about me coming back? And Triple H goes, all right, we can't really talk because you are on contract and that's contract tampering. But you know what? Make up with Miz.
Yeah.
Make up with Miz first.
Say sorry to the Miz.
And then go get yourself fired and we'll talk. Okay, I'll do that. So he made up with Miz.
Yeah.
He went back to AEW.
Ask Regal for tips.
Yeah. Went back to AEW. Choked out Jungle Boy and was like, all right, guys, I'm fired. So what do you think? Survivor Series in Chicago? Nah, fuck off, Phil.
Yeah, sorry, mate.
Sorry, we kind of booked. Got no creative for you.
Yeah, creative has nothing for you. It's interesting. There's been so many of the little teases, but is it worth it? Like, money talks, and there's just so much money to be made. But does WWE even need that to happen? But really, like, that could be the real, like, cherry on top of WWE being so the way it is right now with Triple H running things. He could just be like, yeah, why not bring him in one time? He's here once in a while, has a Mania match. I don't know. Is it something that fans want? Absolutely. So
it's wrestling as well. You don't know how much is kind of,
the second that
kayfabing everyone.
The second that came out, I went, oh, so he is coming out in Chicago is what I got. It like classic red herring also, but it's wrestling.
Or like you don't do it in Chicago and you bring him out at the Rumble, and for that big surprise.
Yeah.
I don't know. I do see him going there eventually. I do find it kind of funny that they're not bringing him back right now. I'm hoping this is kind of almost, humbling for him. It's like, no, you're hard work. No one wants to work with you. Like,
yeah,
go to anger management.
Go to Impact.
Sort yourself out. Come back.
Yeah.
I do think he'll be there eventually, but I read that and was like, good.
Yeah, we don't necessarily need him right now. You're gonna come to WWE and do what? The Seth?
I mean, they're kind of like sort of full until Mania.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, you find a slot for CM Punk and it would probably be Seth, but like, I think for me, I'm way more interested in doing like Seth Gunther at Mania. Have Gable beat Gunther in the first match at the Royal Rumble for the IC title, and then have Gunther win the Royal Rumble late that night to challenge Seth or something like that.
Or like have Punk win the Rumble and he gets to face Seth, or I don't know. Is there interest in there? I don't know.
So many people would want to see it.
There's so many people would want to see it. Even more so the people who hate AEW would love to see that.
I don't like the idea of, people being a shitty person and like falling upways.
Yeah.
Upways, and
yeah, exactly.
That's exactly what it would be. He'd be on bigger money.
Yeah.
Than AEW, working less dates. And
the thing that would get
you need to be like Adam Pearce and work hard, keep your head down, and then get that kind of deal.
The thing that would bother me is like all the shit he's been saying about WWE since
so much, yeah.
So it's just like
he'd come across so hypocritical in every single way. Like, imagine
he wrestled in Saudi.
100%, yeah.
Like, show how true this guy was. All these Chicago people, I know you love Punk, but like for years, like all you hear is, oh, he's such a real one. That guy, he's a real one. The more you watch him talk and through the years, and like I said, things are real dated in promos. It's like,
yeah.
But like I said, money talks. So we'll see.
Absolutely. And then, there was I've skipped ahead, I think.
Oh, how could you?
Boy, well, okay, I don't have the graphic for it. But yeah, there was some news with TKO. Ari Emanuel, the owner of TKO, being kind of saying there's a few reasons he thinks that stock has dropped, but pointed at
should I buy?
At Vince McMahon as well.
Right.
Because he's like had the option to kind of sell all his stock if and when, but he's like, he's 78 and stuff like that, and people might be reading into it a little bit too much. But the same week, you have reports that kind of the big wigs at TKO have like crowned Triple H as head of creative, and Vince doesn't have much to do with that anymore.
So Papa Paul's got the pen, and that's it. That's settled now. He's creative,
which is good. I like, for me, I think that was evident this week. I think you've got, like, I watched both Raw and SmackDown this week, which I rarely do, and I was like, oh, I can see plans for Saudi, for Survivor Series, and long-term plans right the way to Mania, like this far out.
Yeah.
And we had, as I mentioned earlier, you had like big stars, Owens and Sami against Cody and Jay, with a decisive winner. They've announced 6 matches for next week's Raw.
Wow.
It's like, you could see his fingerprints all over it this week, and I thought it was way better.
I think that's what every fan has wanted for the past like 5+ years. Yeah. More than that is like, hey, what if he could run this? And he proved with NXT that it was pretty good. Why wouldn't it be more successful? I think that this will make it better. And if you're saying, if people have already realized that it is getting better because of Triple H in the creative role, it seems like this guy lives for this. Like, I'm done being a wrestler now. I want to like make the wrestling even better. And I trust this guy, like, with everything. This guy seems like he lives and breathes this company and wrestling like so much. So I definitely trust. I feel like we're on a Triple H love train today, but like, legit, I think that could make it so much better and bring it back to the way fans like it.
What I've been enjoying in WWE as well recently is how it always used to be like, as soon as you're a bad guy, as soon as you turn a good guy, you're a brand new character. We forget about everything that happened before then. And I kind of like that. Like, a lot of the characters right now, it's like they're a bit more fully fleshed out. They've got their backstory. They've got reasons why they've gone the way they've gone. And like, I'm finding Drew way more compelling than I normally do, because he's like, yo, this guy's a dick. He cost us all the championship. Like, why are you friends with him?
Yeah.
Which is way more believable and way more what you'd see in like good soap operas than just like, nah, he's evil now. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
So I think we are seeing like improvements with that.
So I should buy stock.
I mean, it's low, yeah. So buy when it's low. How long do you think until Vince is out the door? All that stock sold.
I think until Vince is back.
Yeah.
Because we played that game.
Let's ask both questions. How long until he's out the door?
I guess he'll be gone soon, and then he'll join AEW. Vinnie Mac is all elite.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know, but I feel like he'll never be not.
You don't think he'll go?
I think he'll never not be involved with WWE.
It depends whether like more shit about him comes out and
true.
if stuff sticks and that kind of thing.
Right.
But yeah, that's our WWE talk.
Honestly, yeah, Vince should go and just go right off into the sunset with your silly mustache.
Yeah.
And
try different facial hairs.
Yeah.
Try like a twirly mustache or
a
full beard.
Not dyeing your hair jet black at the age of 99.
Well, we had AEW Collision last night. We did do our kind of Dynamite chat on Tuesday with John and Wai. Collision starting off with Christian, Ricky Starks, Adam Copeland, and Bryan Danielson. And most interesting thing for me was Ricky Starks and Adam Copeland going at it.
You mean Ricky Starks getting fucking massacred by accident? I felt like it was a little.
It felt weird, right?
He said something to Edge, and Edge just like,
he called him Bug Eyes, and
he called him Bug Eyes, and Edge just fucking fired one at him about being like, yeah, well, you stole all your shit from The Rock, and everyone just faces went, whoa, fuck, and the crowd, all 12 people there, were like, oh shit, wait a second, and then when Ricky like was physically looked shook by that comment and tried to say something, Edge right away was like, listen here, you vanilla midget. And I was like, oh my god, Edge double tapped this son of a bitch. This part, it had to be part of the show, but like it didn't feel like it.
It's weird, isn't it? Because like Edge's acting,
I told you, he's one of the best promos.
Edge's acting has improved so much, where like you could imagine them go like, let's make this feel like a bit of a worked shoot, and but he just sounded. It was, I don't know. It was the tone and the speed he shot him down. I didn't think Edge came across as well as I think you did. I think the stuttering over his line, calling him a vanilla midget, like definitely brought him down for me. And I thought Starks did hold his own. Somewhat. I also didn't think
like, oh.
I also didn't think it was the most original thing to say to Starks. Like we have heard that before.
I think he could have just left it at the Rock thing,
but kept on going like, know your role, and like it felt really awkward. I was watching it with a buddy last night, and we were like, oh, is this
Edge?
I think he hit nerve. Like, don't call Edge bug eyes, I guess.
Yeah, jeez. But I it was just crazy how like he said it, and right away it was like, wait, what the fuck did you say? And then just turned his attention to him. I was like, oh, that's what made it sound like it's not part of the show.
It felt like, you know, that they've been getting on each other's nerves backstage. And then he was, which I rarely hear any sort of shit about Ricky Starks backstage
or Edge. So
yeah, it was odd, but also
so like, hey, if that was all like part of this and everything's cool and it was like there's no heat, like great, because it seemed like
I'm finding it. I am finding it hard to kind of, I don't know what the word is. Copeland isn't completely hitting with me right yet. I mean, it's early. We've just had the one match, but I don't know. It maybe felt like, okay, we're unscripted now. Let me have a go at this. And I think his look as well, like the hair doesn't really do it for me either. I know that's a minor thing, but it's him coming out for his entrance and doing the same entrance before, but invisibly such a smaller crowd and stuff. It's not particularly working for me right now. And I
mean, it's also I think it's going back to too much too quick, because like you can't, every wrestler goes last week and then like, fuck, that wasn't last week, it was 2 days ago on fucking Dynamite or whatever, and like that's an issue. Like it's not like less is more, right? Like how am I supposed to keep being invested in these characters if I'm seeing them 5 times a week? Like it's making them less special.
Do you think they should do a harder split?
Yeah, absolutely. Because like you can't be telling me, hey, tune in to hear Edge talk on this show and then wrestle on this show. It's like, okay, well, thanks for telling me which show I'm gonna check out on Twitter and the show I'm going to tune in to watch. So, like you like to say, like he's only cut like 2 promos so far. So the fact he's already been on a Dynamite and a Collision, it's like, wow, you've already fucking wasted through his appearances and made it feel not as big or special. But they did that with Punk, like every fucking week. Hey, Punk's gonna talk. It's like, yo, okay. Like,
thing is, you do have, like, you got to serve your live crowd as well. Yeah. And if you're especially trying to grow these audiences and you buy a ticket and Edge isn't on the show, you're gonna be disappointed.
Of course.
So it's a bit of a balancing act. I think it's just he's doing the nostalgia act, which I get, that's kind of how you have to start. But you've seen how Christian's just like reinvented himself brilliantly. Yeah. And maybe that's the way to go when it's not Christian turns good to join Edge. It's you have the Edge nostalgia run for 6 months, and then Edge joins him as the bad guys. I mean, that's when they were at their peak as a tag team anyway.
I would much rather... What sucks is as soon as he does that, then they're going to cheer him. And
don't do... Yeah, it'll be way better, though. Yeah. Don't do spooky cult Edge. Just be like,
I want kazoos.
Yeah.
I want 5-second poses. Big cowboy hats.
Yeah.
Elvis costumes. I want all the classics from ENC, but now as 50-year-old dads.
Talking about Christian, Nick Wayne and his mum are going to have a sit-down interview next week.
They really made me laugh when they announced this, and the graphic of it.
I've not even seen it.
God, like AEW's got legendary graphics. I got to give them that. Like the graphic guy definitely loves to have fun with when it comes to next week on Dynamite graphics. But I thought, as much as I've been loving this Nick Wayne stuff, they dropped the ball with the promo where they inform Nick Wayne, like, hey, your mom's going to be there too. And he's like, my mom. And then kind of just like, oh, well, I guess like I got to explain it, and like kind of walks off. We're like, that's where you would have made him be like, my mom? What do you mean my mom? And like, he could have been way more like treated that a lot differently, and I think instantly I'm like, well, seems like you don't even give a fuck that your mom's there. So like,
She's got to join Christian, right?
Yeah,
They're hooking up next week.
They gotta
right?
be like tongue in mouth, like they gotta be making out, and
love it. And then there was a segment on the show. We talked about it with John and Way on Tuesday about the kind of role of quarters with Juice Robinson.
Right.
MJF put out a statement on Twitter kind of saying about how he wants to tackle these issues, and even though wrestling has kind of failed it in the past, he sees it as a place where you can tell these kind of stories. This week on Collision, they ran MJF at the kind of stand against Jewish hate conference thing, which I thought was a brilliant video, and it's the most real we've seen MJF, like completely behind the curtains. Even in this babyface run, you're always being like, you're still a dick though, aren't you? And whereas he was being like completely sincere here, and obviously like very moved with where he was speaking. And I thought it was really good to see, but also some good rehab from negativity that happened earlier this week. And then it seems they've just traded the quarters for the diamond ring that Juice now has later in the show. So I think they're just, moving on,
probably for the best,
which is probably for the best. But obviously like just a horrific week with everything going on in like Israel and Gaza.
Yeah, even worse from the last time Wednesday.
Yeah.
So it's like, definitely not something. Again, we kind of talked about it, but like this is a TV show we're trying to escape, and obviously wrestling blends real people and real stories. And I definitely commend MJF's comments on social media, because he's like, kind of saying I allowed this. I wanted this to happen, and you got to like commend that he thought it out of proper this and that, but still it's like a little too
like I think it's gonna take I like how much he respects this sport and as an entertainment form, and I think like theater and movies and TV and all that are ways of bringing attention to real life situations and to try and educate and stuff like that. Wrestling's been such a carny business for so long that it has kind of lost that right a little bit, and would take kind of years of rehab, I think, before you could effectively tell that story with the right people. And especially not this week after everything that's happened.
That's just it.
And I think MJF, I think running this video was great. But I think you could have had MJF just do something to raise awareness completely separate from all stories or whatever on Tuesday show rather.
I honestly, I love crazy storytelling and wrestling, blurring lines and stuff like that. I think it wouldn't have been an issue if it was as big of an issue if it wasn't like with the real stuff going on in the news, that this was the week they tried to pull the trigger on that whole quarters storyline. Like, I think that's it. I think I wouldn't be as like up in arms as most people if it just wasn't around this. If it was 2 months ago, 3 months ago.
But there've been so many other TV shows and stuff where they've deliberately pulled episodes.
Can I tell you a personal story from work this week? Actually, we've been re-airing the show Cold Case on Wednesday nights, and this Wednesday I was at Thursday night. Sorry, this past Thursday morning at work, I was going through like, hey, what are we gonna air tonight at work at my shoot job? And I saw that we had a new episode of Cold Case that we were gonna like air, and I kind of screened it to make sure it was gonna be aired with the commercials and everything. And it was about Nazis,
right?
And I went, ooh, we're gonna play an hour show with swastikas throughout the entire episode. Obviously, it's a fiction, it's a show.
Yeah.
But it was the episode that we were gonna be airing this week just happened to land that it was all about white nationals and Nazis. And then I'm like, and I'm like skipping through, and it cuts to a line where the guy goes, me and the other white men are gonna free everyone in Israel, blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay, you know what? Maybe this isn't the week to air this.
100%.
So I part of my job was to let my superiors know, like, yo, pull this episode and play another episode in this week because this isn't the right time to do that.
Exactly.
And everyone said you did the right job. Thank you for bringing this to attention, because maybe it wouldn't, no one would have batted an eye, but maybe someone was watching and went, why are you airing this
it's
tonight?
Also like escapism, isn't it?
Yeah.
And sometimes it's like, like when it's just all over the news and it's all you're consuming, and it's like, okay, I just want my 2 hours of wrestling to step away from this.
Yeah.
It's time, and I know a lot of people arguing it should never be done full stop, and like I completely respect that. I do admire MJF's kind of stance where he wants wrestling to get to a place where you can tell those stories, and I want it to too. Like I'm a wrestling fan because I've got a theater background. I see it as theater, and theater has been for hundreds and hundreds of years ways to tell political stories, ways to bring awareness to things. But we've seen from so much like dog shit, where it is lowbrow and it is looked down upon, and I think it will take years to be able to effectively tell that. And
it was just a tough week
100%.
to do this time around, so I think everyone could agree on that.
Well, then we had a main event for the TNT Championship. Christian Cage defending against Bryan Danielson. I loved this match. I thought this was fantastic.
Yeah, a rematch from
ROH
06. Yeah, 05, 06, something around that. This was great. Christian Cage is in this great revitalization of his career with not only promo work, but again, some great wrestling. Definitely proving again, like through different generations and eras in different companies, like, hey, actually, I'm pretty good at this. And honestly, I think this was one of his best AEW matches. It was just so good. Danielson obviously don't miss, but they even did some of the callbacks to their old match that I remember, like the unprettier counters and stuff. Pretty good. I was watching this today and catching up, and I got into this. And bro, this guy's still wrestling in the turtleneck.
Yeah, I think this was Christian's best match in AEW.
Maybe, one of his best.
I think it was such a smart match as well. Like, this wasn't full of Poisonranas and Canadian Destroyers, and there's certainly a place for that, and I enjoy that too. But I thought this was such a smart match with the story of Danielson's recently healed arm, and just focusing on that. Just simple things like missing the diving headbutt, and now his arm's fucked, and you can work a submission, and you really like, we were there at that match where he snapped his arm. We know it's a very real thing. The backdrop on the apron and stuff like that, and you watch it, and it all seemed to be done very safely, but was so effective. And I thought they had some great near falls and things, and just you could see these. I mean, everyone always says like, oh, Christian's such a great mind, a great wrestling mind, and Danielson obviously too. And I think Christian he hasn't had a whole load of matches in his time in AEW. Like, no. It's not like he's a weekly performer, but
he has been recently.
True, he's amped it up more recently, and I think he completely proved that he can absolutely still go. Danielson too. This was one of my favorite matches of the week. I thought this was really strong stuff.
Yeah, no, I really loved it. Again, Danielson can fight anyone, and it'd be an amazing match. But Christian also can bring out really good stuff in some people. Back in WWE, I mentioned earlier, like the Randy feud back in WWE years ago, like it made me go, hey man, like Christian's good. Like he looks like just some bloke sometimes, but in AEW he's some bloke with a turtleneck. And who was it on commentary referencing the turtleneck? Like, Christian's done to turtlenecks what Dr. Dre did for headphones. I'm like, bro, I was like, get out of here. Nigel is hilarious as a heel commentator, especially against Bryan. In every match,
JR was like, "What's with you today?" And he basically said, "I had a few drinks before coming out." What did he called it? The Satan sauce or something like that. I'm like, are you talking about whiskey? Like,
you mean you're drinking? I feel like I'm losing interest in Kevin Kelly on commentary.
I think they're losing interest in Kevin Kelly.
Yeah, he doesn't say something's like off. Like, did something happen with this guy?
Well, this week was weird because they had Shivani essentially leading the commentary, and then they brought JR in for the main.
Really weird.
So, like, I think the weeks he was there for the G1, I thought Riccaboni was doing such a great job.
Way better, yeah.
We've seen with the commentary, like, when they were phasing out JR and things like that. I wonder if it isn't if it just isn't really working with him.
I would put Ian Riccaboni in there.
Me too.
For sure, he's fantastic. But yeah, I loved Christian versus Danielson, and you could easily go back to this match again, but Christian winning, eventually his boys coming out, even though they were banned from ringside. That was what was going to happen to help him win this. But I imagine Christian Edge is the full gear match for the TNT title, and maybe Edge wins it. Yep.
I think, I actually thought promotion for Collision was pretty good this week because, this is, it's difficult for both of us to watch. We both work Saturday nights.
It's difficult for us to watch because we live in Canada.
No, we have Fight and a VPN. Sorry, you can't have it both ways. You say, I don't have cable, I watch TV other ways.
I can't watch it. It's so much harder for me to find these shows when they don't even stream. People don't watch it and don't care about it. It is treated not the same, I find.
But I thought they did a good job promoting it this week, because when they announced this match, I was like, okay, that's something I definitely want to see. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to skip to the main and then go back and watch it. And then I just started the show and, okay, Edge is coming out. Let me watch this first segment. And then it kind of kept me that way. Yeah. So I thought they did a good job. And I think if Collision's kind of been known now for, we do a 30-minute main event, and I think using it as maybe a big main event weekly and having Dynamite more your story building is maybe a good idea to kind of force people, hey, you like this product, you got to watch on Saturday.
Yeah, but I think it would help advertising 2 weeks in advance. Hey, Tulsa, in 2 weeks, when we come to Collision in 2 weeks, it's going to be this match for the TNT title.
And they used to do that. Yeah. I know NXT actually does that a lot, where they promote 2 weeks ahead each time. So then next week we're doing this, and then the week after. It's
also we're wrestling fans. We like to talk or listen to podcasts or look online and hype up something for a little while. It gets more interest in it. I think that's been an issue with AEW. Finally they learned that for pay-per-views, announcing matches way in advance, because sometimes they don't do that, where sorry, someone who's I only have $50 in my bank account, can I afford to pay to go see this? Is this going to be worth it? But I'm paying to see the bear guy who does right,
you're not watching to see the bear guy.
But if you were to be yo, Christian and Danielson are gonna fight in 2 weeks, when we come to your town, tickets are still available.
Yeah, you can plan around it.
Yeah, exactly. So,
it's I'd like to go, but I already made plans for Saturday.
Or when you go, it's on Saturday, but I like to go out with my friends on Saturday, and then you go, guys, wait, hold on, I gotta watch this. There's ways to promote it a bit differently. I think they could learn from that, but I do think they've been delivering with some good wrestling, because the main event was really good and definitely worth checking out. But I love Christian coming out with the security guards at the beginning, but where's Tomko? We need the problem solver. I know Luchasaurus. Is
he still alive?
Tomko?
Yeah.
Oh man, I hope so.
I don't know.
Tyson Tomko?
Yeah, he's 47.
Okay. Oh, thanks. Cool. Oh shit. All right. Yeah, he's 47. I need the new Christian coalition in AEW. Christian, a dinosaur, a kid, the kid's mom, Tyson Tomko. Get AJ Styles in there.
I don't think this company needs to add any more wrestlers at this point. I know you like Tomko.
We need to. No, he's not great, but I think we need one more person to join Christian's thing.
It's gonna be the mum.
Right. She's not gonna wrestle women's division.
Yeah. That should be good enough.
Yeah.
Well, we had GYV are free.
Hey, pour one
They're
out.
taking over the States.
They're taking over the States.
Yeah, that's what
stateside. Yeah. So GYV are gone from WWE. The schism, the roots of the trees have burned.
They've rotted away.
Oh man.
And did you watch their little promo video they did?
I did, yeah.
I really liked it. This wasn't breaking out of prison.
No.
Like we've seen so many times. Like the close up of their like trousers with their shoes, no socks, we know is a big look for the British lads. And then them saying, no, it's going to be one take. I don't give a shit that it's raining. I don't need big production here. I don't need silly contact lenses. And then just doing all their own shtick and being like, oh, it's so good to feel this again, say this again.
Yeah.
Thought James Drake, who's always been like the quiet one just mouthing along with Gibson. I thought he sounded great here.
Yeah.
It made me excited for these two. I got like real true passion coming out of them in this video, and just excited to see what they can do.
Yeah, I mean, what have we been saying about these guys for months, years now? Like, hey, they're good, and clearly they just want to fucking wrestle, and they're not doing that in WWE. Instead, they're babysitting the Rock's kid with the spooky gimmick. It's like, what the fuck is that? Like, why? So to see them finally like break out and take a chance on themselves and be creative, and I'm sure they'll make good money, whether it's, PWT or indie dates and stuff. Like, they're gonna be more than okay, and they're gonna be a lot happier doing this and not being forced. Clearly they weren't happy, and you could see that on TV, you could see that in their social media.
And power to them, they were like, they weren't phoning it in either in NXT.
They were having good
they
matches.
were wrestling with a chip on their shoulder and stuff. But
there's so many. So they've announced that they've taken a lot of dates, and they will be in North America based, so that clearly they've worked out with their visas or whatever the thing is. So I expect them to be popping up on some shows that we watch probably really soon, whether it's AEW. Obviously, I'd say instantly the big match for them would be FTR. Down the line, Aussie Open. I know that Mark Davis is out with injury, but they're like, they could go to Impact and become the guys
tag
there.
leagues in a month.
Tag
in
league,
New Japan,
they could do like that. Honestly, that would be the big move for them, and I would wish that they could go over there. But yeah, like I want these guys to make waves and have people go, oh wait, they were in WWE. Wait, what? They were.
They feel kind of like, when FTR left WWE, and they just like, we want to see them with the cuffs off.
Yeah, obviously they weren't at that that level of FTR, but still like.
But to be honest, what did FTR held the championships on the main roster, but I can't recall a single. I know they feuded with the Usos. I can't tell you whether their match was good or not. Whereas you think Revival's mystique was, oh, those American Alpha matches, oh, those DIY matches, right? And I think that's same with GYV. It's like their stuff was, oh, they had some really good matches in NXT UK and on the indies and stuff. So I'm excited for these guys.
I just want to see them wrestle, and that's clearly something they want to do. And as weird as it is, wrestling is somewhat of an art form, and these guys are artists, so I want to see them fucking paint, and I think they're going to be fantastic. And I know it's early, but I think having a chat with them would be good, because I have a feeling they have some fun stories about their time at NXT. So I am definitely gonna have to try to make an interview or something, because we've been tooting their horn for a long time, and I think they deserve some respect, soon to be recognized.
Soon.
So definitely we will be watching anything those guys pop up, and because I just want to see them wrestle, and I think they're pretty good. So happy for them.
Last night was Royal Quest 3, New Japan and Rev Pro presenting in the UK at the Copper Box. I managed to catch a couple of the matches on this show.
Yeah, this sounded great. I only had time to check out 2 of the matches from just before recording this show. So I checked out Ishii versus Shingo and Ospreay versus ZSJ. And yeah, both matches were banging. Obviously, anytime Shingo and Ishii fight, it was good. And at first I was like, there's no way these guys are going to go the level they usually go at. But I thought they got into that next level, and they were slugging each other, and by the end of it they were taking each other's heads off with lariats and pumping bombers and all that.
Yeah, their one from the G1 a few years ago is still like one of my favorite matches, but
this is probably the best one since that one.
I would agree. I thought this was very strong between these two,
because they wrestled.
Ishii proving, just when you think he's like, is he starting to like wind down a bit, he'll have a match like this, or the match we saw against Mox at Dynamite or Collision earlier this year. I thought this was really strong.
Yeah,
and a real treat for that UK crowd. It's like, you want to see a New Japan match, here's a New Japan match.
And they treated it with respect. They were really into both characters. I think New Japan is, as much as they're doing fine with, like, I'm sure viewers and stuff, but like, they dropping the ball with Shingo being their like white knight of, he could have slotted in there. He's so over with everyone, and I'm just so cold on Naito Sonata that I don't care about that.
Like, Shingo is in LAJ, right? Like, that would be a story
so
I'd have wanted so much more. Like, Naito chasing Shingo, rather. I get Sonata's got more youth on his side. He's
got a chin.
He's a handsome guy, but just doesn't do it. Like, that main event just sounds
Sounds terrible.
People in Japan are gonna dig it.
Tell you right,
but
yeah, you know what? They probably will be behind it, and the wrestling will be meh, but the story and the crowd will be into the story for sure. Because the story, yes, the character is over, but it'll be overshadowed by whatever is announced for that Wrestle Kingdom card. Because we're getting something great. Whether it's Danielson Okada 2.
I think Danielson Okada 2, Ospreay Omega 3.
So who gives a fuck about Sonata on that card, to be honest? So, like, already that's sounding like an amazing card. If those two matches are the rumored ones, like, oh my God, I'm definitely staying up all night again. I've looked at flights. It's not affordable, but that is already goated wrestling card there. But yeah.
And then the main, Zack Sabre Jr. against Ospreay for the UK.
Yeah, I mean, with these guys.
We've seen them so many times, but every time, and I think this was like another step in, like, they could wrestle every few years and be like, hey, look where we are now, kind of thing. They must be boys. They have like such smiles on their faces, but chemistry here between the two were like so crazy with the counters. The way Zack just leaps into some of those arm bars and submissions and
these
bending will.
I honestly, Shingo Ishii was so good. But this match was, I like this better.
Yeah, I agree.
It was just so good. Ospreay is crazy. He's coming for that, like, I'm going to have the best amount of best matches ever. And he's just, every time he wrestles, it's something so special. And Zack Sabre Jr., like, he's someone who's like, what do you do with this guy? He should be a bigger name.
Yeah, I really want to see him get his flowers one day. And, like, having the match against Danielson was great. And, but yeah, like, I'd love to see him have a run. It doesn't have to be a long run, but, I mean, we said that about Ishii as well. Just give it to him for a month.
Ishii should have been IWGP. At least give him a run, beat Sonata for it, and then have him transition to someone else. But like, it's just Zack Sabre Jr. Maybe he'll be the guy in New Japan, maybe not. But he's so good, and this match was awesome. So would definitely recommend checking out both of those from this Royal Quest. And is it Rev Pro, the guys we used to make fun of, the cameraman? Yeah, they probably still have the same cameraman, don't they?
Oh, I thought this was way better. This looked way more New Japan presentation for me.
A little bit.
I didn't know that, like, compared to that last Ospreay Zack match from Rev Pro a few years ago, that was horrendous. That made me seasick. I can't say I noticed it on this one.
I did a little bit on this one. I'm not gonna lie. During the Shingo match, I was like, okay, hold on a second. I'm getting a little woozy here.
Right.
But still, just fantastic. So I might have to check out some of the other matches on that show. But those two blew me away, and the British fans are getting just treated so nicely.
They love it
recently. I saw a lot of people with the all-in shirts at this event in the crowd. I'm like, those jerseys.
You got now a country that were like clamoring for more wrestling, and then they're like, fuck, Copperbot, I just went to London.
There. Okay.
I just booked a train and I can't go to this one.
Like, I'll tell you, what looks cool is that GCW ran Japan this week.
Oh yeah,
I need to check out. I haven't checked it out yet, but Joey Janela versus Crazy Monkey.
Okay,
which shit is gonna get fucking nuts.
What's his face?
Jun Kasai.
Yeah.
Definitely gonna check that out.
And then we mentioned it right at the top of the show, but the Iron Claw dropped a trailer this week.
Did you watch it?
I did, yeah. Looks great. I think the timing of this coming out end of December, like, this is certainly trying to be there for award season.
Zac Efron award season?
I really like Zac Efron.
I know. Tell everyone how much you love High School Musical.
Look, I love High School Musical. I did the show. I did the 2 shows. I do love High School Musical, but I think...
You ever want to see Davey lose his shit, play We're Breaking Free, Falling?
I think, though, similar to kind of Robert Pattinson, where just Pattinson has that Twilight stink. And I think Efron people still look at him like a 16-year-old. He's
with lots of muscles and a bowl cut.
Yeah, he's a good actor, and I think he looks great in this role. And I don't know, just the trailer, it looks like it's shot really well. It looks like it's gonna be taking it seriously. Obviously, it's a very tragic story, but I don't think this is something where you watch the trailer as a non-wrestling fan and go, that wrestling shit. I think you see it at, this is a story about family, about these brothers, like a bit of a period piece as well. Like, I'm very excited for this, and it's such a, like, awful, horrible story.
Oh, it's gonna be depressing as hell.
It's gonna be depressing as fuck. But
yeah, I like, I saw for the past few months, whenever the set photos came out with Zac Efron, all the people who have no idea what this was like, yo, Zac Efron's going through a midlife crisis. What's going on with Zac Efron? He's looking crazy. He's wearing tank tops and bowl cut hair, super tanned and jacked, wearing Daisy Dukes. Like, is Zac Efron okay? And then people, wrestling fans were like, yeah, he's filming a movie where he's...
Also, because everyone thought, oh, has he had weird plastic surgery? But didn't he fall down the stairs or something and shattered his jaw? So like his face is a little different now. It's kind of like Mark Hamill in Empire Strikes Back kind of thing. But
the Christmas special?
Yeah. But yeah, like I think he looks great in this role. And
I mean, I tell you gotta watch The Bear, because Jeremy Allen White also is if anyone's getting an Oscar from this movie, I think it would probably be him, because he's like incredible. And let alone like the way some of the actors in this movie, because there's other actors and I'm like, oh man, this MJF in it as well, which I'm sure we didn't get
I couldn't catch him in the trailer.
I think there was one glimpse. I could be wrong, but I didn't really see him. But this could be really good, and it definitely has attention of non-wrestling fans, because like we said, A24 has been on a roll, and to do a wrestling movie is like definitely like bringing two different things we liked kind of together. So watching it, like the obviously I saw the tweet from one of the grandkids now of the Von Erichs being like, oh, it's not completely accurate. I'm like, well, I mean, you weren't there either, but like the way some of the shots,
and also it's a movie, like you've got to have some creative license with it,
like the shots of like the famous venue that they would always do the things
at, auditorium.
Like again, just in a trailer, I'm like, whoa, you managed to make it look like you've like captured the era, the time. And then like just the littlest thing was whoever plays Freebird.
I was just gonna ask,
my god,
who's playing Michael Hayes?
Oh my god, like give him, I don't know who it is, but give them the Oscar just from that one clip.
I was literally just I'm going through the casting.
That dude, I was like, that's just Michael Hayes.
Brady Pierce.
Yo,
he's a wrestler.
Oh,
I think we've talked about this guy, have we not?
Interesting.
Oh, he was in Heels.
Okay. Wow.
Brady Pierce.
Yeah,
I recognize this guy. Yeah.
I'm super excited for this movie, and I've been loving...
He was in AEW, like on Dark and things like that. I think that's where we know him from.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, this movie looks good, and I know people will be buzzing about it, but it's coming out around Christmas time. I'll definitely, if it's in theaters, I'll definitely go see it, and we'll definitely be chatting about it, and it'll make for a good...
if it's doing any like special screenings or stuff like that, would love to check it out.
The Iron Claw. I'm definitely gonna have to, maybe we'll closer to revisit the Dark Side episode, because that might help us, give us a refresher on the story.
Yeah, do a little best match ever.
Von Erichs?
Von Erichs?
Yeah. That could be good. Let us know. Is that something that you guys would be interested in? Maybe get someone on.
I can't say I've watched, like, I know the story, but it's not like a period I really go back to.
Yeah.
And obviously everyone talks about the Freebirds and the Von Erichs and stuff. Yeah. So I don't know how much is good quality to go back and watch, but I think that would be maybe a good idea for December.
Yeah.
Well, that kind of brings us to an end. Is there anything else you kind of wanted to bring up today?
I think that's it. That trailer looks good. There's a lot of wrestling going on. Dynamite's back to being on Wednesday. We got Kenny Omega being called out by Kyle Fletcher.
That should be good.
One-on-one this really Wednesday. Good. It's weird. Like Kenny feels like he's like on this like half schedule thing. Like he's a big gun on that show. Maybe that's like promote him as your big star, and maybe people will start showing up again, because I feel like that's a part of it, is some of the booking.
I'm sure you get friends who don't know wrestling but know you like wrestling who'll send you memes and little videos. Someone sent our Spanish friend Jimmy Madrid sent me one the other day, which was, if wrestling's real, then explain this, and it's Kenny Omega facing the little girl.
Yes, of course, yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, that guy is like a big deal.
He's so good. He fights little girls sometimes.
The only other thing I kind of want to bring up is like looking like there's a bit of a relationship building between CMLL and AEW. Had Mystico on Rampage on Friday. I haven't watched the match yet, but that's something. No, I'm kind of interested. I'm probably not watching it.
Let's be honest. You're not
probably not. But don't lie to yourself. It is kind of interesting, like that partnership is starting.
Yeah. So what? Forbidden Door down in Mexico?
Maybe.
You going?
Yeah.
You going? I need to do the trifecta of a Triple Mania, but if you could book a double show to go to down there, that'd be pretty sweet. But yeah, maybe CMLL bringing in guys. It's not a bad idea. I just don't know, like, when it comes to what stars you would kind of, because what's the problem? CMLL and like other companies, they got drama.
There's an issue with I don't know. I can't keep up with all the dramas there.
But if it brings some cool wrestling.
Yep.
Then cool, but as long as it's not the guy who moves in slow motion.
Who's that?
That guy. The guy, the lucha star.
Okay.
It's Gravity.
Oh, is that okay?
You know what I'm talking about.
He's already in AEW.
Yeah. Is he?
I don't know.
Listen.
I can't keep up. Kota Ibushi is now.
Right. Yeah. Kota says he's signed.
Yeah.
Right. Kota's like, oh yeah, I'm signed.
Non-exclusive, so he can do other shit.
Wow.
As well. Yeah. Good for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're now going to go on fill up on some cheese.
We're gonna go eat some cheese. Wait, are we? We're eating cheese.
Fill up on cheese.
Oh right, yeah. We're going to go see Auntie Donna,
a
comedy show tonight. So we're gonna get ready for that. But
everything's a drum.
Everything's a drum. Look up that on YouTube. So we're gonna go do that. We're gonna be gone, but we will be back Tuesday on the Post Wrestling feed if our internet allows us on Tuesday night.
Probably not.
We will be talking about some NXT, and we'll be back next Sunday as well, chatting everything going on, including some Dynamite and some Collision. And so follow us, Poisonrana.ca, for links of everything we do. We mentioned our Patreon. Check out that. It's only $5 and you get access to so many podcasts on there. Retro NXT reviews, movie reviews, pay-per-view reviews. It's all on there. Hours and hours of content for your drives, for your farming days, for your long hot showers.
We've got 2 farmers now that we know of.
We got an Aussie farmer, Canadian farmer.
Yeah.
Look at that. We have a whole
Any other
squad.
farmers out there? Hit us up.
You know, what other jobs do you do that you listen to us? We have lawyers who listen to us.
We do.
We got drivers. We got I don't even know what other people.
Porn stars.
We do.
Sure. Like, that sound cool, Brad.
Yeah.
Rappers are listening to us.
Yeah, we got a lot of people. So let us know what your listening habits are, and we appreciate you listening to us wherever you may be, as well as our YouTubers in the room as well. I see you, Chris Price, Jake, KB, Frank, everyone in there, and anyone watching on the replay. Hit that subscribe, like we said, and just be happy.
Be happy.
We hope you're enjoying.
Be kind to
season.
each other.
October, get a pumpkin spice in you if that's your thing, and if not, I don't know, drink water.
Yeah.
Stay hydrated. I myself, Braden Herrington, Twitter, Instagram. You can follow me at the Brady.
And I am at Davie Portman.
That's it. That's all. Take care. Goodbye. Be safe. And leap, my frog.
Ahoy!